Well, it's the most hyped meeting since Eve met the snake. Donald Jr. and a baffling Russian convene for 20 minutes, and the media howls at the moon. Yet they never asked one simple question. Tell us, Greg. How did the Russian lawyer get into the United States if wasn't her visa denied? And she arrived here under President Obama. I'm just wondering how she got in.
Now you're on to something.
Yeah. No, but maybe people know. I don't know. But how did she get in? Like, really? She was here for a different reason. How can one man be so thoughtful and gorgeous? So now my question is finally answered. According to an explosive piece in The Hill, the Russian lawyer entered the country without a visa because the Obama Justice Department cleared her. It was something about extraordinary circumstances just before she suckered Donald Jr. into that weird meeting. President Trump noticed this, too.
The lawyer that went to the meeting, I see that she was in the halls of Congress also. Somebody said that her visa or her passport to come into the country was approved by Attorney General Lynch. Now, maybe that's wrong. I just heard that a little while ago, but it's a little surprised to hear that. So she was here because of Lynch.
So why was this revelation overlooked? Did the media know about this and ignore it because it didn't fit the story? A mysterious Russian is granted special entry, then pulls a bait and switch on a naive private citizen, a citizen who happens to be a Trump. So who's colluding now? But it's obvious why the media embraced this latest Russian story, because what that woman did to Donald Jr. is exactly what the media does to the public every day since the election. They bait, then switch. They promise something juicy, but when you hear them out, it's emptier than a protester's resume. And when their hysteria is met with public disgust, what does the media do? Rather than admit to their compulsive overselling, they blame those who question them. Suddenly, it's your fault for being skeptical. It's your fault when their mania trumps fact. It's your fault for their addiction to relitigating the past. They say when you're a hammer, everything becomes a nail. When you're a bitter hack, everything becomes collusion, except actual collusion. All right, this is to me a groundbreaking, earth-shattering revelation, Kimberly. Clearly, the Democrats colluded with the Russians. Yeah. There has to be an investigation into this.
Well, this is the problem. They only are interested in it when it has a T in front of it for Trump, or Trump assistant, Trump aide, Trump organization, Trump administration, Trump family member. That's the only thing that they can say. They're like, ooh, that's all we're interested in. So there's a total hypocrisy involved in this from the get-go. I'm not surprised that they're going after Don Jr. now with this. But guess what? If anybody has any experience in politics, you know, the people who are doing opposition research, sometimes you're like, okay, you're going to take a meeting with them because otherwise you could be the next person that they're offering it to the other side. It's how it works. And when you're going to run for a campaign, election, et cetera, you try and go out and get the best opposition research people and hire them for yourself. And you have them do opposition research on you.
Exactly.
So the other side doesn't get it.
I'll take a meeting with anybody.
Take a meeting.
Somebody calls me up, I'm there, especially if they're buying lunch, Jesse. You know what? This woman pulled a bait and switch thanks to President Obama. Is President Obama guilty of treason?
I'm not going to pull a Tim Kaine and say yes. We're going to lower the temperature on that. But Trump's enemies have their fingerprints all over the story. And I wish I had a clip of myself. I was wearing that same jacket, and I said this could have been a setup. And it said Don Jr. could have been the victim here.
You're right.
I don't have a clip to make myself look as good as you look,
you also
unfortunately.
Said that too.
But here's what's swirling around that. Not just did Loretta Lynch grant an extraordinarily rare exception in letting this woman come in without a visa to the country and then allowing her to overstay the visa. The Russian lawyers also hired this lobbyist who is a really, really radical left-wing socialist Democratic state senator from California who's praised people like Saddam Hussein, who's praised people like Fidel Castro. She's also hired into the lobbying firm with the Fusion GPS team, which is responsible for the fake Trump-Russia dossier. So there's that. And then look at the context of the meeting, just to put this into perspective.
Total setup.
you have, fresh off the heels of Hillary Clinton going over to Russia with the little reset button, trying to warm relations, you have President Obama whispering in the Russian president's ear sweet nothings about flexibility. You have the Olympics just over in Russia. You have Vladimir Putin saving President Obama's hide with the chemical weapon red line deal in Syria. So this isn't the context where there's this Russian hysteria. So you have not a seasoned political operative, Donald Trump Jr., go in, gets duped into a meeting about something totally different, and he gets set up potentially. But you're saying, to your point, if in the middle of the Lewinsky scandal, you had a Russian lawyer come to the Clinton campaign and say, you know what, we got some dirt on Monica. Let's have a meeting. You don't think James Carville would be at that meeting with his little bald head saying, what you got, what you got? Come on.
I think if you had someone from the Miss USA pageant going to the Clinton campaign saying, hey, we have a bunch of stuff on Trump,
better analogy.
I think they would end up doing that as well. So the timeline of this is so interesting, and I already had 10,000 questions about this, but the Russian delegation, which was organized by the Obama State Department, they went to the RNC and the DNC. This meeting happened right before the RNC. So my question is, did this woman go? Did she have any connections to anyone who went? Who did she meet with before and after? There's so many unanswered questions, and it's laughable to me that the Democrats for so long poo-pooed any idea of Russian interference in any way being taken seriously in any capacity. I always think of Mitt Romney being mocked by President Obama, saying it's 1980s foreign policy. President Obama getting caught on a live mic saying, I'll have more flexibility after the election. So clearly they already had a flexible relationship with Russia. So who is this woman? What is her attachment? And what is her attachment to this Russian delegation? And I think there's so many unanswered questions at this point that, as you said, there's a lot of egg on Democrats' face right now who just totally jumped to a nefarious conclusion. And I think this has so many legs, and there's going to be a lot more to come out in the next coming days.
Yep. There's more legs than a centipede, Juan. You know what? We look at Loretta Lynch. Look at the tarmac controversy, telling James Comey to change the language from investigation to matters. And now we have this. Should she be investigated? Could she be guilty of treason? Could President Obama and Loretta Lynch end up in jail?
Wow. I tell you, it's so interesting to me. It sounds like
probably say jail.
Yeah, I mean, because it's so interesting
I'm
to
just
listen
using
to this
the left-wing
when,
rhetoric.
in fact, there's actual news going on in the country today. I mean, we just had a report coming from Mike Isikoff that said, oh, you know what? The president's lawyers knew about this train of emails 3 weeks ago, but they didn't mention it. They didn't volunteer it. Huh. I wonder how that feeds into Robert Mueller's investigation and potential charges of obstruction. I don't know. And why didn't they get it out earlier on their own terms? If Dana was here, I'm sure she'd say it. Get it out early, put it on your terms.
Don't put words in Dana's mouth.
But I'm just saying that what I am listening to tonight is so fascinating because this is clearly distraction, diversion from reality.
He means fascinating in a bad way.
This is a fact, Juan.
This is not a fact. And here's the fact.
No, it's a fact.
Let me give you some facts.
Okay,
the fact is, but here's the reality. The reality is that this lawyer. Yes, fact. Here are the facts. The facts are that this woman had her visa rejected by the Obama Justice Department, Loretta Lynch.
Right.
Then there was a special request made because she was the lawyer for a man who had been buying property in New York, apparently to launder money, and she was his lawyer. She's allowed into the country to represent her client in an international case, and that's it.
And it's not why they let her
also lobbying on behalf of the Russian government. So if someone like this who's attached to the Kremlin and attached to Putin, they never should have been allowed in this country to begin with. But that is on the Obama administration.
I just learned that.
It's on the State Department and it's on the Obama administration. The fact that they never took, I'm sorry, but your party never took any of this seriously for years and years and years.
Why don't we just deal with the facts?
Those are the facts.
These are, we got facts here about
manifesting something that doesn't exist. I'm telling you that Obama never took Russia seriously, and that's why this woman somehow ended up in the country. She wasn't flagged in any way. She ended up coming in. We don't know. She was let into the country and somehow got into Trump Tower and talked to the presidential candidate's son.
Megan.
That's not normal.
And went on a lobbying campaign that included journalists and State Department officials.
Okay,
Fact.
here's what's normal, Megan.
Fact.
Not normal, I should say.
And
is that Donald Trump Jr. with full knowledge that this woman was being sent as an emissary of the Russian government with information from Russian crown prosecutor, says yes to a meeting and takes in the campaign manager and his brother-in-law.
Because he's a patriot.
Oh, yeah.
What's the crime?
Oh, there's no crime. It's
no, what? There's no crime?
No crime so far.
Everybody, he just said there's no crime.
No. I said what you have
that's
here,
good. You don't have to say
potentially somebody acting in such a way.
He's trying to ignore the actual collusion. You see this, right?
No, it is collusion. You can't say any longer there's no collusion.
You're ignoring the collusion and that she's actually linked to this guy, to Glenn Simpson, the Fusion GPS, who created that Steele dossier that was used to smear Trump.
My God, you are running so far away from the reality.
Go straight to the top, Juan.
No, I'm not actually.
What does Steele have to do with
I'm
her
just telling you. Okay, who is this woman? You act like she's an innocent.
She's not innocent.
No, look who she was involved with, her nefarious connections, and who is it linked back to? The Obama administration and people trying to support Hillary Clinton.
No, what it links back to is Donald Trump Jr. with full knowledge of her connections to the Russian government.
That was her intended target.
All right. Can I just destroy Juan's argument?
Sure, go ahead.
If there was evidence of high-level contacts and collusion on the Trump's part, the email and the meeting would not make actual sense. It would like Dana taking a meeting with our show intern in order to get something from me. If you have high-level contacts already, you don't sit there and meet with this person that you don't know.
No.
It's such a joke. He took the meeting because he was curious. It's not evidence of any if there was high-level collusion, he wouldn't need to take the meeting.
Wait a second. This man is cooperating by agreeing to have a meeting to get negative information about Hillary Clinton.
If that's all you got, well, then I'd say keep fishing.
Well, that's all we know at the moment.
Well, it took you long enough to find collusion.
We are going to get to Don Jr.,
I think you guys need to back off of this statement that there's no evidence of collusion, because now it's evident.
Conversation's not a collusion.
But it's not.
It's so
we will get
obvious.
to Don Jr. We're talking about this woman, and there are major questions. How did she get here? What was she doing? And who did she talk to after she left Don Jr.? She should never have been in the country to begin with, and that's what we're speaking about in this block. And we're going to get to Don Jr. in the next one.
They're very good. Thank you for that.
All right. McCain.
Okay.